it. Make sure you have no dimples on the bottom. Easier to get it in the middle if it's not square. Turn the wheel on. A little damp sponge in the center first to make sure the clay is going to stick. And slap it down in the middle. If you have trouble with that, place it down and then kind of pat it down like that. Then you're going to wet both hands up to the wrists. Pedal to the metal. You're going fast for this. 3 speeds in throwing. 1 for centering, a little slower for opening, and slower still for raising the walls. Arch your hands like this. A little tension in your hands and arms. Arms in by your side, elbows down. I'm going to press down first to be sure I stick it on the back. Now I'm going to squeeze the clay in with my hands arched, a little tension in them. You don't want to absorb the power of the wheel into you and be dancing with it. Push it into the center and we're going to bring it up to a cone. It looks like this, and I'm using the palms and the heels of my hands, not grabbing with my fingers. It comes up like that. I'm going to push it again. I'm right-handed. Mostly I'm using my left hand right here, and I'm pushing towards the center and bringing it in with my other hand. And you'll feel it when it locks on. Come up to a cone, and then you can see that some of the clay is a little smeared out over the wheel head here. That's where I moved it over to the middle. So I'm going to use my sponge to clean that up. Otherwise your hand's going to keep bouncing over it, and it's going to get in your way. So, again, I'm squeezing it in, bringing it up to a cone, not a tower. If you do a tower, it's going to fall over. It's going to be top heavy. Then I'm going to go down and over the top with the heels of my thumbs, pressing down and in. It looks like this. Until the sides of your hands touch the back. You can see the clean spot here where my sides of my hands touch. You're going for a low mound, about like this. You want to make it, we're going to be making cups. You want to make the mound of clay about as wide as you want the cup to be. Keep your backs cleaned up. It's better for a lot of reasons. Now to open it, you're going to slow it down a little bit. That's your second speed. Pedal to the metal for centering, a little slower to open. Always keep your hands wet, wet enough to glide. Anytime your hands get dry or sticky, you're going to throw it off center. So put your hands around it again, wrists together. And put your left hand is going to keep it centered, and your right thumb is going directly down in the middle. Got a little water in there. And anytime your hand starts to, the clay starts to get dry, keep your left hand on there and just touch your right hand into the bucket. You're going down to leave about a ½ inch for a floor, and now I'm going to pull it open. I'm using the side of my thumb right in here like this. Open it about as wide as you want the pot to be. This left hand is keeping it on center. So once I get it open, then I'm going to clean up the mud. And I'm going to compress the floor. You need to compress the floor. Make those clay platelets tight. Otherwise, when it dries, it'll split into an S-crack. So I'm going to go back and forth on a radius from the center out with my sponge. Don't spin your hand around. The wheel's already turning. And that will tighten it up. Now, if you throw it off at all, as you might when you're doing that, or any step along the way, you want to collar in. That's an important step to learn. Wet both hands again, wrists together, palms open, face up, and I'm going to get right in under it, lean into it with the heel of my hands till it straightens up, and then hook my thumb in. And I'm hooking my thumb so I'm making the wall straight. I'm using the side of my thumb, not hooking under. I don't want to curve. And that will straighten it up every time. Just like that. That works when you're raising walls too. So now we're going to raise the wall. So I've slowed it down again. And I'm going to work at about 4 o'clock here. I'm right-handed with my left hand between my index and middle finger and my thumb. I'm going to be pinching right here. Now my thumb will actually be lower because you have a ½ inch for a floor. So I'll be able to get under that roll of clay and lift it. I'm going to back up my thumb with the sponge on the outside. That way I can squeeze it out and get a little water there when I need it. And I'm going to come up a little bit at a time with each revolution of the wheel. And you have to get in sync with the wheel. If your hands come up faster than the wheel is spinning, you're going to pull a spiral in it. It'll be uneven on the top, and your walls will be uneven. It should take 3 or 4 times to go down and raise the walls. Each time you come up, you're thinning it out a little bit more, and you're thinning it from the bottom up. So I'm going to go down again. Keep your hands wet. If it's sticky, you're pulling it off center. Always have the wheel spinning before you touch the clay or take your hands away. Otherwise, you'll pull it off. Keeping my arms in. Important to keep your arms by your side for leverage. Start at the bottom again, and I got my face right over here so I can see the inside and the outside of the pot at once, so I have a sense of how thick it is. The second pull, I'm keeping water out of the bottom. And I'm going to go down one more time. And now when I'm down up high enough so I can't get my thumb down to the bottom, I'm going to connect my hands and make my 2 hands one tool. I'm touching this thumb to this hand. So I'm raising between here and here. One hand informs the other. It makes a big difference than if your hands aren't connected. You have more control. And again, you want the walls nice and even. If you have more weight on one side than the other, it's going to get thrown off center. And let up on the pressure a little when you get to the top so you don't make it paper thin. There you go. Here's the cylinder. I'm going to straighten out the rim. Keep the back cleaned up. Keep the mud out of the bottom. And then we can go on to shaping after that. But that's your basic centering and raising a cylinder. Okay?